Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
We've all experienced sore, achy muscles at some point in time, but did you know that during the summer, this can actually create an additional challenge for us, especially if you've been more of a couch potato throughout the winter and the spring, and then summer comes and you want to get outside. Maybe you're just, walking, working in the yard, or maybe you're trying to become an endurance athlete. Nonetheless, we certainly know that there are additional challenges when it comes to your muscles recovering in the heat of the summer, because we certainly recognize that we are more prone to dehydration, which can actually create a significant higher amount of electrolyte loss, which can create more pronounced skeletal muscle cramping and pain. We also know that in the summer that our muscles are much more flexible. So it's really good to make sure that we are exercising. Ideally, we're exercising year round. But we do realize that there are some benefits to working out in the summer, certainly. And like I said, part of that comes down to that flexibility. And oftentimes your muscles do have a tendency to be able to bounce back a little bit better, but you have to be doing the right things. So I want to talk about a key product today that can be very, very beneficial when it comes to exercising in the summer and allowing your muscles the ability to recoup if they are overworked. So I am Amanda Williams, MD, MPH, and let's get right to it. Let's talk about basically we're dealing with like a heat adaptation, and we know throughout the country right now there are really high record temperatures, and a lot of people aren't used to this. And so maybe you're doing something that you usually do year round and you're not used to the heat, and once you start to go out and do your normal activity, then we start to have this increase in lactic acid buildup. At the same time, we're having an increase in electrolyte imbalances because of the loss of fluids. So you may think, okay, I'm out there, I'm staying active. And then in the evening, you're like, oh my gosh, every muscle in my body is just aching. Well, we have to be prepared for this. We have to know the appropriate things to be doing. So first and foremost, we ideally have to stay hydrated. This is really important. It's amazing how many people don't really change their routine from one season to the next. And we have to realize that during the summer, we have to consume a higher amount of water. Even if you're not out there working out heavily, you're still going to be losing more fluid than you would in the cooler months. So we have to be able to replace electrolytes. So how can we do this? Well, we can take a multivitamin. That's a first place to start, because at least we're getting exposure to those electrolytes via that way. Certainly taking something like the Reds HX or the Greens HX, also a really good place to start. We can look at magnesium. Obviously, we know magnesium plays a really critical role in maintaining the ability of the skeletal muscles to remain relaxed. So if your muscles have a tendency to cramp up, then taking magnesium citrate in particular, the citrated form, would be very beneficial during the summer. So this is because it gets into the system really fast. So say, for example, you're like, I'm going to go ride my bike today. And then later on, a couple hours later, you're like, oh my gosh, every muscle in my legs are just killing me. So it would be wise to get that magnesium on board quickly, and utilizing the magnesium citrate is a really good way to be able to replenish that. But most importantly, I want to talk about our Beets Hx today, because the Beets Hx is a combination of beetroot extract along with tart cherry extract. And the reason why I bring this up is because both the beetroot extract and tart cherry extract have been studied in this setting when it comes to muscle recovery, when it comes to exercise endurance. So we know, and they've used these nutrients in really well-trained athletes who are pushing their bodies to the limit. So if it's working for them, we know it's going to work for the average person who maybe just kind of overdoes it one day. So let's talk about some of the studies and look at why we have this particular product formulated the way that we do. So it's beetroot extract, which contains a very powerful active constituent, which is the betaine, and then it has the tart cherry extract, which is a registered trademark form, and it's sourced from Traverse City, Michigan. So it's a really wonderful, high potent, high antioxidant cherry extract that's been used in clinical trials in human beings, which is also very important. So in the Journal of Nutrients, they looked at the effects of beetroot extract on recovery and muscle function and performance in athletes who were doing sprinting. So we're talking about runners here. And they wanted to see if it would do anything on their performance, on the way that their muscles felt. And what they were able to determine from this was that the group that was given the beetroot extract actually did much better than the placebo group in terms of muscle recovery. So you're talking about sprinters, so you're getting a fast twitch muscle. And in that, we have more of a tendency to potentially end up with muscle cramps or muscle spasms. And they found that when they gave them the beetroot extract, they actually did really good in terms of bouncing right back after doing those sprinting exercises. Now, we also know that part of what makes the power of the beetroot extract is its antioxidants, but there's also other nutrients that are, found within this. When you look at other vitamins, vitamin C, for example, that are naturally occurring. So you're getting this power punch of all of these wonderful vitamins and antioxidants that really help to maintain and support the recovery of your muscles. So in the Journal of International Sports Nutrition, they once again said, okay, let's look at the effects of beetroot extract on intermittent high-intensity exercise. And they said, we know that the beetroot extract, one of its most important properties is its ability to rev up nitric oxide in the body. So nitric oxide helps to promote vasodilation. So vasodilation is going to allow for better blood flow as well as oxygenation to the tissues. And so in doing this, not only were you able to see the benefit of better circulation, which of course is going to help with that muscle recovery, but also to regulate that lactic acid buildup because of the antioxidant properties within the beetroot extract itself. And they found in this study where they were having people do this intermittent high bursts of exercise that the beetroot actually improved muscle power. So it actually was making these people stronger. But at the same time, it was shortening any amount of muscle fatigue after that exercise. So, and like I said, it's this combination of the antioxidant properties along with that nitric oxide promoting property that beetroot extract actually has, which is one of the main reasons why so many athletes have turned to this. I always go back to the study where Auburn University, they gave beetroot juice to their football players. And they were like, wow, these guys are maintaining throughout the whole game. They're very energetic. They're not, coming off the field, having muscle cramps or muscle spasms. So the underlying mechanism for many researchers was fairly unknown. It was like, well, how is it that this beetroot extract's doing it? But like I said, it's that combination dual effect. It's not only a powerful antioxidant to fend off oxidative stress and damage, but at the same time, it is helping with that nitric oxide. And the more nitric oxide, the better blood flow and oxygenation that's actually making it out into the tissues. And then we look at tart cherry extract. So remember the Beets Hx, combination of them both. So we know that the tart cherry extract has been studied when it comes to muscle recovery and overall performance. And the tart cherries that we are using, like I said, have been used in human clinical trials. So here's a study, once again, out of the Journal of Sports Nutrition. And this was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial where they took water polo athletes. So, I mean, think about water polo. That's a lot of work to those muscles. You know, they're not touching the bottom of the pool. So they are constantly moving. And they said, let's see if we give them tart cherry extract, if this would do anything when it came to their muscle recovery. Well, they found out even more than that. They found that the tart cherry extract did so much when it came to targeting inflammation. So a lot of these guys, after being in the pool all day, are sore, maybe taking ibuprofen, things along that line. They found that when they gave them tart cherry extract, they were like, "Oh, I feel really good." Why is that? Because the tart cherry extract was working to regulate these different pathways in which inflammation is driven up. At the same time, we're getting a powerful amount of antioxidants. So this is a really interesting study because they were able to assess not only the inflammatory response and how the tart cherry was able to regulate that, but also looking at oxidative stress. So this is very impressive study. Once again, now here's another one, International Sports Performance Journal, talking about the efficacy. So how effective is tart cherry extract in aiding in the recovery of muscles after intermittent exercise? So once again, it's these little bursts of high power exercise where you're really working those muscles. And they found at the end of this study that the tart cherry extract had the ability to accelerate the recovery after this exercise. So it was doing it by means of easing inflammation, easing that discomfort, and really allowing those muscles to bounce back after being overworked. So great formulation. Definitely check out the Beets Hx. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. Remember, you can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health Today. And we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health podcast.